Good afternoon, prynhawn da. It is a great privilege to be here today as an avid young historian from a tiny village called Talwrn at the very heart of Anglesey, North Wales. And if one event has affected me and my community greater than any other, the Great War would undoubtedly be it. In common with countless towns and villages around the country, at the centre of my small rural village, there stands a cenotaph commemorating the glorious dead of our community. Whereas the iconic cenotaph in Whitehall is a memorial that commemorates all Britons who died in the war, the monument in our tiny village is a constant reminder of the ultimate sacrifice our young men made to preserve our freedoms today. This freedom is also expressed in another local legacy of the war, the Belgian promenade in Menai Bridge. The Belgians who fled their country and took refuge in my community built this walkway on the banks of the Menai Straits as a mark of gratitude for the welcome they'd received. Similarly, ladies and gentlemen, as my community provided shelter for those refugees during the war, it is our duty today to do the same for the many refugees from Syria and other war-torn countries. A little known, but a significant contribution that my community made was that of Hugh Owen Thomas and the Anglesey bone setters. Considered the pioneers of modern orthopaedic surgery, they invented the so-called Thomas splint. Now, before the development of this splint, the chances of even surviving from a fractured leg were 1 in 10. But after its development, amazingly, the risk of death from such an injury was reduced to only 1 in 10, and it is still used by medics today. A much more widely known fact is that my community produced the man who won the war, and arguably the greatest Welshman that's ever lived, David Lloyd George. He instigated political reforms, radical changes and social developments that even today still affect British society. And as he once stated, what is our task? To make Britain a fit country for heroes to live in. And what was the effect of this statement, ladies and gentlemen? Well, his stirring speeches at the National Eisteddfod during the Great War were crucial in recruiting young men of my community to enlist and fight for our country. Indeed, an important part of my own personal life has been the Eisteddfod, our annual celebratory festival of the Welsh language and culture. This coming August, the Eisteddfod will be held in Anglesey, and it will mark the centenary anniversary of the year that Welsh poet Hedd Wyn was victorious in the Eisteddfod's most prestigious poetry competition, the Chair. Hedd Wyn had tragically been killed just 6 weeks before the Eisteddfod, in the Battle of Passchendaele. The empty chair was symbolically draped in a black sheet, and the 1917 Eisteddfod came to be known as Eisteddfod y Gadair Ddu, that is, the Eisteddfod of the Black Chair. It is worthwhile for you to hear some lines of his truly remarkable work. Mae'r hen dylynau genid gynt yng nghrog ar gangau'r helyg draw, a gwaed y bechgyn lond y gwynt, a'i gwaed yn gymysg efo'r glaw. This translates as, the harps to which we sang are hung on willow boughs, and their refrain drowned by the anguish of the young, whose blood is mingled with the rain. Hedd Wyn's tragic story has indeed instilled in me a deep sense of both identity and pride as a Welshman. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, as the Archdruid sword will be raised aloft on the 11th of August this year at the Eisteddfod, his call for peace in Welsh, Heddwch, will resonate around the pavilion. Oes Heddwch, and the audience's response, Heddwch, will reaffirm the aspiration that peace will reign as the sword is thrust back into its sheath. A most perfect symbolic message that I pass on today to other communities around the country. It will remind us of the past sacrifices of those brave Anglesey men who have ensured that my community has a present and has a future. Fyth, ni dan angof, lest we forget. Thank you. Diolch yn fawr.